Hi guys, I'm Greg from ZE Partner, and today's video is about a new subscription and extension that I've developed. So I have a subscription for my existing clients who have used my services to help them build automations for their business, which includes priority support. So if they have issues with their system, they can contact me and I will get to fixing their issues sooner than I normally would have been able to if I had other work that I was planning to do that day. For people who are not my existing clients, I have a subscription to just the extension, and that gives you access to my new logging extension that will log issues for you on your system based on whatever rules you set. So when you've got any automations that run, for example, if you've got a script that updates a deal when something changes, then you might encounter errors. And normally what people do is they get that to send them an email, and then they get 5 emails a day or 50 emails a week, or depending on how big your system is and how much automation you have, it can become quite overwhelming and you can end up with loads and loads of emails and not knowing which issues you've dealt with and which issues still need to be dealt with. So I've developed this application that integrates directly into Zoho CRM, and for a small monthly subscription fee, you can add it to your system, follow the instructions, and have it log all the issues for you. Now you can still get it to send you emails for any critical issues or potentially high urgency issues, and then you can set that in the settings. But I'm going to show you the extension now, and I'm going to show you the whole setup process. So to start with, we're on our website and we go to the resources page. And here are some resources for things that I recommend. So for example, we've got some free trials, an SMS and text message application, video and podcast recording software. So the software I actually use to make these videos, and then my online training courses. And then we've got my CRM extensions. So right now we've got ZE Logger. This one's coming soon. So I'm still just waiting for Zoho to confirm this one and do their whole audit process on it. But so for this one, if we click into it, it brings us to the page that explains all about it. So this is the current pricing of everything. So bear in mind, this may be different when you see this page in the future. If priority support becomes too popular, then it'll become just the same as everybody else, as if priority support didn't exist. So I'm trying to price it in such a way that only those who really want me to be available at the drop of a hat for them are wanting to go ahead with this. So I've priced it quite low for now to get a few people on board, but then once I've got enough customers on board for this, the prices will go up. So bear that in mind. If you are one of my existing customers and you want to lock in a good price on priority support, signing up early is probably a good idea. For everyone else, because obviously I'm only one man and I can't help everybody, so there's loads of you out there who are not my clients, you might be interested in just having access to the ZE Logger Zoho extension. And that's a small fee of £29 per month at the moment. Again, that may go up in the future, but if you can lock in a good price now, then go ahead. So it's a simple process. You just click on subscribe, you put in your details here. Now this is really important. You need to put your correct CRM org ID. So to find that, you just go up here and this is your org ID in the URL bar. So you would just paste that into there, and that would make sure that the application can find your subscription and knows that your subscription's valid. And then obviously put in your information in here, billing address, card details, accept the terms and conditions. You can click through here to read them in full, and then you click subscribe. Once you're subscribed, you'll get a link to the extension. So now we're going to walk through the process of actually installing the extension and then showing you what the extension does. So to start with, I will get the link for the extension. There we go. And now we just accept the terms and conditions and authorize and continue. I'm going to install this just for admins only. You may want to do the same, particularly if you've got a lot of employees and you've got different security levels. Sometimes in your error logs, you will want to output the whole record and all the data that was in the record when the error was hit. So if you allow access to everyone to access the error logs, then you're essentially giving those people the ability to access that information. So my recommendation is only ever allow admins to access the ZE logger, because they could potentially be seeing all the different data from the system inside the error logs. So we'll hit confirm. So now the application is just installing. Okay, it's going to redirect us to our settings page now. So this is the settings page. You can see here that I do not have a valid subscription. So it is saying that my subscription is invalid, and it's giving me the option to subscribe now. It's also giving me a link to the full terms and conditions. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to set up my subscription on another page. Okay, so now I've set up a subscription and I need to follow these instructions. Once you have purchased or renewed your subscription, please go to the ZE Logs module on CRM, and in the top right-hand corner, click the button to update subscription status. So if we just go up here, we can see ZE Logs here. Now, because this is a brand new installation, there are no logs, so I can't see the buttons that would normally show here. So I just need to create a fake log and hit save. And now if I go back to the logs, and I'm looking at the all ZE Logs view, up here I can see this button that says update subscription status. So we just click on that. And there we go, success, subscription is now active. So if we go back to our marketplace and installed applications and configure, we can now go settings, and we can see here that our subscription is now active. So in here, we want to put our email address where we want a notification emails to go to. So in this case, I'm just going to put errors@test.com. And then you can hit enter or tab or comma if you're on a mobile phone, and then it'll put the email address in here. To remove the email address, obviously just click the X. By default, we set the urgency of when you will receive email alerts to critical and high. So any error reports that you create or that are automatically created by the system where the urgency is critical or high, an email will be sent. But you may wish to turn off high and only be emailed about critical issues. And then maybe you'll have a routine of once a day or once a week checking your error logs and seeing which errors need attention. The final thing we need to do is set our domain. So you'll see here that I am .com on this installation. So I'm going to select .com and I'm going to save. There we go. Great. So everything's been saved. So now what we can do is we can go and have a look at the actual error logs. Now, this is a test application, so I don't have any deals or anything. So I'm going to have to create one quickly. So now we have a deal that we can do some automation with. So what we'll do is we'll go into scripts and we will go workflow rules and we'll create a rule. We'll say on deals, on create or edit deal. And we want this to be a record action, create or edit, repeat every time, all deals, next. Now, you might have this in place already. I recommend it in a lot of my videos that you have a script like this, and you'll use that to create your work drive folders, maybe pull information in from different records, synchronize stuff across your system, etc. But in this case, because I don't have anything set up in this test system, I'm just going to look for something in here that we can update. So let's see. Let's put the lead source in as other if it's empty. Is there an other? No. Let's put it in as chat. So what we'll do is we'll go, so we'll bring in the deal ID. And we'll say deal record equals zoho.crm.getRecordsById deals. And then what was it called? I think it was just called lead source. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have an if statement. So we'll say if lead source equals none, or lead source equals an empty string, or lead source equals null. So in other words, if lead source is empty, then we want to update the lead source. So to do that, we need to go update deal map equals map. Usually I'll always put this at the top of my scripts so that throughout my script, I can then add things to the update map. And then right at the bottom of my script, once everything else is done, I'll say if update deal map dot is empty equals false. In other words, it isn't empty. Then we want to update the deal. And here we'll go update deal response equals Zoho.crm dot update record deals deal ID, and then we want to put in our map. Now, because this script runs whenever the deal is updated or edited, we do not want to trigger the workflow and blueprint and approvals to run on this again. Actually, we may want to trigger blueprint. As I'm saying that, I'm realizing that. So we'll code trigger blueprint approvals. Okay, perfect. But not workflows, because if we said workflows, then it would trigger this workflow again, and then that would trigger this workflow again, and we'd end up in a death spiral loop, and we don't want to do that. All right, so that's going to update our deal. Now, the next thing we can do is when you have code that is likely to break or could possibly break, especially when you're pulling in information from third parties, you should really be running it in a try catch. So that's not really a risk in this script because it's so simple. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to do that. So you go try, and then in here, you paste the code or you write the code that you want to run. And then here, you write catch, and you put in brackets, and this could be your error. So we'll just call this try error. And then here, this patch of code runs if there's an error in this code. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that we want a error map. Okay, and we want a return map. So in our return map, if the lead source is not empty, we want to put that in the return map. So we say return map.put lead source not empty. And then here we put what the lead source is. Else we'll say here deal update deal map.put lead source, and then we will make it chat. And here we'll say return map.put lead source updated to chat. Okay, if this fails to run, we want to go error map.put try error, comma, try error. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll say at the bottom here, return map dot put deal updated, update deal response, and then right at the bottom we'll say record logs, and here we'll say if error map dot is empty equals false, e.g. error, then we want to record an error log, else success. Okay, so now's when our error logging comes into place. So I'm just pasting in some code, and you'll see that this code is available to you here in the instructions on our webpage. So actually, let's copy that in instead. All right, so we want to create this based on the deal ID, and this is our deals module. The log type will be error because this is running in the error section, and the log message. Now, this is another great thing I like to do. So what we'll do is we'll add the errors to the return map. And then our log message will be the return map. And urgency. So I'm going to say that this is a critical issue. And then the script name, I'm just going to copy from up there and put in here. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we want to copy that. And now when we're successful, all we need to change is this is now an FYI. We're just logging that we successfully did what we wanted to do. And here we'll change this to FYI as well. And that is all we need to do. So we will go save and execute. And let's get our test deal. Note that currently the lead source is empty. And here we will go save. There we go, successful. So if we now refresh our deal, we can see the lead source is now chat. And if we go to our logs, we can see that we have a log from on create or edit deal, module deals, and then the ID. And here we can see that, oh, we did have an error. That's interesting. Error at line 18, invalid JSON string. Very interesting. Let's have a look at why that was. Line 18. Because we forgot to add this in here. So lead source updated to chat. Yeah, let's actually change this around. And we'll put this at the start. And we'll say success. Ha, great. I was trying to think about how I was going to show you this working as an error. So now you can see that this is a critical error and the type is error and the status is reported. So what we're going to do quickly is show you what you would do in this scenario. So the first thing you would do is you would open up the record and you can check if what you needed to be done has been done. So we can see that it did update this to chat, which is great. Now, we know that this was a coding error, but for example, if you were reliant on a third party and it was just a one-off thing that happened once, then you would change this to an anomaly, okay? And you would click save and that would be done. Otherwise, what you could do is you could change it to under investigation, and then you could add some notes on the side here saying, oh, I checked this and I checked that, can you help? And you can tag other users in here. You can just add notes, you can make attachments, etc. All right, but for this one, we will just leave it as recorded for now. And let's rerun it on our test deal to show you guys what it looks like when it actually runs a successful log. There we go. So if we go back to our logs this time, and let's change the view. So this is one thing about Zoho extensions that is a bit disappointing. It doesn't allow us to automatically include things like custom views and filters and all that. So the first thing I like to do is in here, I like to take out who the owner is because that really doesn't matter. And I like to show the script name, urgency, status, and log type. You might also enjoy having the URL. Okay. And for here, we'll put the status first and the log type just after status, and then probably just move that to the end and maybe urgency up there as well. Save. Okay, so now this gives us a better way to view this. The next thing is I like to create a filter. So the status is recorded or under investigation. Okay, and now if we apply the filter and we save the filter, we'll call this needs action. All right. So now when you come to your ZE logs, you can see here one record needs action. And we click on that and we can click into it and we can do what we need to do. Now, if we remove the filter, we can see that we've also just got one here that was recorded as an FYI. And we can look here and it tells us lead source not empty. Chat was what it was already. We haven't finished making our script, our workflow. So let's just go save. Now we can do it. So lead source advertiser or advertisement, and back to none. There we go. Let's change it back to chat. And now if we go to our logs, we can see we've got loads more FYIs, but only one needs action because we've got that issue. Once we resolve the issue, which we have, we found the error in the code, we can actually put that in as a note. We can say here on line 18, we had a map where we were putting a value and forgot to put the key. Fixed. Error in code repaired. Save. And now we can just go and mark this as resolved and rerun. And now if we go back to ZE logs, we can see we've got none that need action. Another thing I like to do is I like to put this here as CRM logs needs action. And then you can frequently check on this and make sure that there's nothing that needs action. So let me show you the settings again. And here I'm going to put my actual email address. So let's just put this in as test.zlogger@zpartner.net. Okay, and we're only showing it for critical issues. So we'll go save. There we go. Email's been updated. So now let's go back to our script and just create an error, which I don't like to do, but we will. So let's just put that in here. Return map.put. We'll just do the same issue as before. We go and save. And now if we come in here and we change this back to none, there we go. Now if I check my email, there we go. So I have received this error log and it shows me that there's a critical error on this script and this is the log message. So that is all one needs to now go ahead and find this. So what you would do is you would know from this email that you need to go to the logs need action page. And there we go. We can see our error and we click into this and we can just change it from recorded to resolved and rerun. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is we're going to go to workflow rules and we're going to create a workflow rule to tell us when an email bounces. So we're going to go new workflow module emails and we'll call this on deals email bounce. And we'll say this is an outgoing email and when it bounces. And here we don't want any conditions. Apply this to the deals module and all deals. And now we'll say when that happens, we want to run a function and we want to run a new function and we'll call this on deals email bounce. And first thing we want to do is bring in our deal ID. And then here we want to just create the same error logging as we had before. So if we go to our previous script and we'll just call this, let's look for deal. Here we go on create or edit deal. And we'll go down here to the error one. And we'll go deal record equals zoho.crm.getRecordsByID deals, deal ID, deal name equals deal record dot get JSON deal name. And then here in our log message, we want to say email bounced for deal named. And then here we'll put our deal name. We want this to be critical because obviously if an email bounces, we need to know about that. We need to fix that urgently. And everything else remains the same in here. And we'll say create log response. So we'll go save. And then down here, we'll go save. And now if we go to our deal, so we need to add a contact. So we'll need to add a new contact. And we'll call this fake contact. And here we'll call this does not exist at doesnotexist.com. And we'll set the account and save and associate. Okay, so now if we go to emails and we don't have any templates, so we'll just say test email. And let's cancel these out the way and go send. And now if we go to our logs, may take a minute to work out that it's bounced. There we go. So if we just go into here, we can see that email bounced for deal named test deal. We can click here to go into the deal. And we can see that this contact needs to be updated. And we would now put in the correct email address for this contact. And then once we've done that, we'd go here and mark this as resolved and rerun. There we go. So that's a very useful one. And you can see here that I received an email. Critical error on deal's email bounce for deal named test deal. So here I might just copy the test deal. And we are done. I hope you find this useful. I'm going to be making a few more tutorial videos in the future about how to write the best code, how to record your errors, how to use try catches in a more detailed manner. And there's so much that you can do with this application. I've got a couple of clients who are using this a lot, where we're recording every little automation that the system does. We're working a lot with third-party APIs. So every time we call the API, we can record when the API doesn't do what we're expecting it to do. So this can be very useful. I strongly recommend this for anybody who has any level of automation and customization built into their system, because it acts as a really good place for you to log everything and have an audit trail and work out whether issues have been investigated and checked. Even if you don't get a lot of errors on your system, you may still want this so that you can log each time something happens. So you've got it in a really easy to access and comment on and deal with way. But if you've got any questions, just get in touch. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.